At the start of the year, Brandon, I feel like I would have really tried to maybe get that Puka, take a bet. But today, man, JJ in a 28 third, I'm happily sending that away for Puka. How do you feel?
Oh, that's an easy smash. 100%. Puka 10 out of 10 times right now.
Let's talk about it.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
Welcome into the All Gas Trade Show. I'm Ty at Ty Declare 44. I'm joined by Brandon at the BG-C on X. And we got another one coming here for y'all. Welcome in. Happy Saturday. Happy Thanksgiving weekend to all the American listeners out there. Happy Saturday, regular Saturday to all my Canadians and otherwise. Brandon, we got you in the house. Old Gabe is taking a well-deserved family weekend. How are you doing, my friend?
You know, every time I feel like I come on, Gabe's not here. He's either on vacation, he's moving a house, he's just somewhere. So at some point, we got to do this with Gabe. Like, we got to get all three of us on at one time. But it is good to be with you. It's fun to be on the All Gas Trade Show. It's always fun to see trades and just see what the Discord's doing. So appreciate having me on.
100%. I don't think we've seen Brandon and Gabe in the same room at the same time, so I don't know if we can really confirm there actually are different people, but we'll find out tonight. I agree. We got to get everyone here on the show together. And yeah, it always is fun kicking our feet up on a Saturday morning, looking at some of the trades the people in the DDFFB Discord pulled off. And if you want your trades on this show, head on over to patreon.com/allgas. You can find the All Gas Trade Show channel. Drop your trades, drop your context. We'll hit as many as we can on this show. Also, ddfantasyfootball.com still works. Get you all the tools to dominate your leagues. Make sure you sign up for the Trades and Chill tier. $3.99 a month gets you free and early and live access to the Dynasty Deal Show, Trinity, anything else the DDFFB is putting out on that premium feed. You get it, including those sweatpants. So, Brandon, we might see some sweatpants in the chat here when you're able to move your Jefferson out of that 28 third. It is a real year, I guess, but you get that Puka.
It's a real year.
Nakua. Old Stebo, 12 by 10 PPR. It hurts his heart to move JJ. Well, I mean, I don't think it hurts that much. Let's just talk about it, right? Like, Max Brosmer going to be the starting quarterback for Minnesota this week. JJ has not been the king that was promised. Meanwhile, Puka has the MVP thrown into him. He's not the red zone target like Devontae Adams is, but he still is the volume king. I just can't really see a world where a third is what makes me move off my Puka there, Brandon.
Yeah, it's funny because it's not just any third. It's a 2028 third. So it's not even something that can be like materialized for 2 years. Right. And when we're looking at, so basically this is a 1-for-1. This is just a player bet, right? Puka Nakua or Justin Jefferson, where they're at currently. And for me, when I'm looking at this trade, like, you're basically betting that even if Matt Stafford is to move on, which, may happen in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, just depends on how long his back wants to hold up. Like, Puka is clearly the answer in this one. And if you look at the Trinity, it's not that Justin Jefferson's not getting opportunity. It's just that his quarterback play has just been subpar. And maybe this is a good spot to buy Jefferson and just in general. But if I'm trading my Puka Nakua, right, and you're giving me Justin Jefferson, I want at least a 26 second, right? Maybe a 27 first if you can pull that off. But at the minimum, if I'm taking a 2028 pick from you, Ty, I want your first. I don't want your third. That's just like a throw-in.
Yeah. If I'm getting to 2028, it's a first. I don't think seconds and thirds really exist in my rule of what I actually want to take back in a deal right now. I want to get that first if I can. I agree, man. Like, the price starts at probably a second to make that swap today. Grand scheme, yeah, it's probably a great time to buy into JJ. Like, it's a good way to probably try to find your way into some of those shares that you weren't able to get into previously, but not like this. That's not how I want to break down my Puka. I do think in the right spaces, the right leagues, you could demand a first on top of JJ to get to Puka. I don't know what it would be in this league. 12 by 10 PPR, but man, if I had that Puka, I think I'd really make you pay up. But I don't know. Stebo, I know old Tristan here, maybe it's a familial values over a Thanksgiving dinner. I don't know how this one came about, but I think that people are going to be probably on our side here wanting that Puka as well. So Thanks for getting us started, Steve-O. We appreciate you. Let's move on here to Wayo Mac. 10 team, start 12, PPR into Superflex League, Brandon. 0.5 tight end premium, you got 18 bench spots. Figured that these two deals can keep him in contention. So let's break down this first deal. Sends away a 26 first and Cam Scatterbo. I'm assuming this is his first. He does receive Zach Ertz, Travion Henderson, and a 26 third. So Scatterbo, been really fun. I saw a video of him with a helmet on, headbutting his office chair. So he's having a great offseason. Travion Henderson is finally ascending. Zach Ertz still producing, and a first is a first. So yeah, 10 teams, start 12 PPR. How do you feel here? Scatterbo in a first, Ertz, Henderson in a third.
On first glance, I'm like, I don't know if that's necessarily the way I want to split the pieces, right? Like, let's just say Cam Scatterbo is worth a first and a second. Let's just say that. I don't think that's necessarily what you can fetch, but let's just say individually, for argument's sake, it's a first and a second and a 10 by 12. So 2 firsts and a second for Hendo, Hurts, and a third. Like, on face value, doesn't sound terrible. I don't know that Zach Ertz is necessarily the piece when I'm talking about contending is the piece that I want to get. Like, there could be some buyer's remorse coming into next offseason. So I totally understand. Like, I could see where, like, there's a world where Cam Scatterbo and Travion Henderson in 2026 are close. I don't want to say they're the same thing, so don't flame me, chat. Like, Scatterbo and Henderson, when healthy, I don't think that there's really much of a difference in terms of production. So if you're telling me that the extra that I'm going to get, even off the first, is Zach Ertz and a third and a 10 by 12, like, the third really doesn't matter too much. Like, I don't know. It just, to me, Ty, it feels like I don't want to say it's a trade to make a trade, but I feel like there's probably could have been something with a few more outs. Really, that's what I'm thinking about with Ertz. Is like, once you lock yourself into Ertz, it's it. That's it. Yeah. Nobody's going to be trading that Zach Ertz for Theo Johnson, right? For somebody a little bit younger, or I don't know. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, just like a younger tight end that's not like an elite value one, but one that like AJ Barner. You're not trading your Zach Ertz for AJ Barner, right? You're stuck with Zach Ertz. So like, once you make that kind of move, like, the next step for Wayno Mac in this is now like, okay, if things don't go right, now I got to sell Henderson, and I don't have my 26 first. So now what do I do? Like that's the fear that I look at when I look at this trade, is like, if things go off the rails, I don't have my first, and but I have this Hendo, and will people value it the same way and get the same credit from this trade?
Yeah. I think something I've learned over just playing Dynasty football, making trades, is I don't want to house my Dynasty value at running back. Like, I don't need to condense all my value just to tier up at running back if I can help it. I don't think I want to spend my first and Cam Scatterbo just to take the consolidated bet on Travion Henderson, because that means that I need Hendo to be capitalized, bold, italicized Hendo for me to feel good about that bet. Because like you said, Zach Ertz, and I even believe this is 301. If it's 301 in this deal, that still doesn't make me feel great about what I'm sending away. I just think you just have to be so right with this bet. And in general, I don't want to make those bets unless it's a very specific type of team. This team in particular, it's 6-5. It is the highest scoring team, but they lost Neighbors, Scatterbo, Garrett Wilson, and Laporta. They're hoping to get Bucky back, but that feels like a team, Brandon, where maybe just variance says it's not my year. And I'm not kicking the can all the way out. Like, I will put a team out there that's probably going to make playoffs if it is the highest scoring team. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to like turn every rock over, drain all of the bank accounts just to give it a shot for this year,
Yeah. Like Travion, like Hendo and Bucky as your running back room in a 6-5 team, just that can go. I mean, it could go well. I don't want to say it can't. It can go well, but you are playing with a razor thin margin for error. And that pick can go from being the 107, 108 to the 104, 103 real quick. And the kind of leverage you could have in 2 months, especially with all the injuries. Like at some point, the variance is maybe just not in your favor, like you just said.
100%. Let's look at the second deal Wayno Mac did, because he wasn't done there. All right, so then he sends away Garrett Wilson, Tez Johnson, and a 2027 third. Gets Chris Olave, Sean Tucker, and a 26 second. I like this one a lot better. I think Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, handshake, choose whatever side you want to be on. I will take my bets with Olave and that offense ascending, finding a quarterback, and Olave being the main piece. More so than the Jets. I feel like the Jets are just going to find a way to Jets it up. And just if you're a part of that organization, it's probably just going to be paying for a little bit. I'm happy to be wrong, but that's just, I'm just going to go based on what history's told me, Brandon. Sean Tucker, Tez Johnson's dope. I'm taking the shot on Sean Tucker because I'm going to know when to start Sean Tucker. And when he does, he's shown that he can put up elite weeks. And I like a second over a third. Do you see this one any different in a 10 by 12?
No, I think you broke it down correctly. I mean, again, if knowing that he's trying to lean in, this makes sense, right? I'm going to move Garrett Wilson. I'm going to get into a wide receiver that is very close in production. I'm going to cash out on the Tez Johnson doing well without Godwin and leaning into another piece in that offense and Sean Tucker. And then I'm going to take the pick, and then I'm going to pick the pick swap moving up. I don't know what the gap is, whether that's, let's just say half round for argument's sake, could be more. Yeah, that's fine. Like that is a much better, like you said, this is a much better deal. Like even if things go sideways and it doesn't work out, at least I'm in a range of wide receivers that doesn't really change. I've got the running back for next year that really, the only thing I guess, knowing all the context, is that now he has Tucker and Bucky. Yeah. So now you're kind of stuck with your handcuffing on an 18-man bench, and you're burning one bench spot on a handcuff for a running back, which has proven to be not exactly the most ideal strategy. I'd rather have handcuffs to like quarterbacks. That's like it. So, again, it's not a bad deal, but knowing all of the context, it's like, okay, this is a very thin margin you're playing with.
And I probably want to do that less on a team where I have CMC, Bucky, Hendo, Monty, Woody, and I'm adding Tucker to that room. That's where it's probably going to be hard to actualize that Tucker value. Whereas maybe I can squint and find a way between JSN, Rice, Olave, Sutton, DJ Moore, Neighbors being injured. I can find a way to actually start Tez and a start 12. So I think you got to figure out what really moves your team forward there. Maybe getting Sean Tucker makes you feel better about moving away a Monty or a Woody or a Bucky or something like that and making a bet one way or the other. But a couple good deals there, Wayno Mac. Hope those work out for you and that team. Hope that highest scoring can result in more wins for you. Billy, what's up, Billy? 12 team start 11 PPR, tight end premium. It's a 0.5. He and on Rebuilder, he got off JJ before week 12. So before last week, sent JJ away for a 27 first. This deal feels unattainable this week. Brandon, do you disagree with that?
Yeah, I don't even, wow. Wow. Well done. Like if there was a clapping sounder, this is where you just, yeah, man, like, well done. Like, goodness, 27 for, and again, some people will say, we're being too harsh on JJ. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and be the NFL scout. That's Ray's job. That's not our job. My job is not to tell you how JJ McCarthy is developing as a passer. That's not my role. My role is to tell you fantasy points. That's what this channel is for, is to talk about fantasy points. And the simple fact is JJ's not scoring them. And when quarterbacks aren't scoring them, you got to look somewhere else. And if you can get a 27 first, and it's random because it's not his, but it's ranch hands. So even if it's a playoff 27 first, because this guy believes in JJ McCarthy, man, no thanks. Like these things are going to be a lot, like 27 first are going to be harder to come by in 6 weeks. Because once the 2025 season ends and we get into 2026, that's when the push will be on for 27. We do it in the dynasty cycle all the time. So if you can get on a guy that, somebody's going to believe. Here's the thing, Ty, there's still going to be believers in JJ McCarthy. Like whether this is a quote unquote soft benching or just listen, JJ just needs to stay healthy. That to me is becoming more of a problem than his on-field play. Right? This is now the third injury in not even 14 months. Right? Yeah. That's going to keep him out for at least one game, possibly more, depending on the symptoms that he has. I mean, we've already had a high ankle sprain. We've already had the meniscus surgery. Now we have a concussion. Like, I'm not going to label him as injury prone. That's not what I'm going to do. But at some point, you got to be on the field and you got to be consistently on the field to be able to get the reps that you need to be able to develop into the quarterback that people want. So, again, I'm not here to discuss his NFL on-field play from a fantasy perspective. If he's not scoring points, if he's not scoring points, it's got to go.
I think this is what happens when expectations meet hope and they do not mesh. Like there was a lot of steam on JJ just falling into a good situation, a good coach, supporting staff, an offensive line that's getting healthier, and an offense that made Sam Darnold look great. Well, this has to work out for him. Well, it hasn't. So now we have to adjust. And is there a world where JJ has a good offseason? He comes back, he gets his footwork down, he takes a step forward and we like what we see. Yeah, absolutely. It just feels like at this point, man, if I can get a 27 first, like you said, Brandon, those things are going to be gold. They probably already are gold, right? But as we move through the process here, that price of the brick is only going to go up. I'd rather take that cash out price and hold on to 9 right now. So let's talk a little more. Oh, that's not the right picture. How about this one for JJ McCarthy? 9. Yeah, let's do a little hot seat. So I don't have Gabe here to put on the hot seat, but I do have you, my friend. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull up Dynasty Daddy's trade database. I'm going to make it max asset count of 5. We'll call it, a 12 team, start 9, 10, 11, just somewhere in that range, right? Not too deep, not too shallow.
Okay.
I'm going to assume that, like I said, all these deals have JJ McCarthy. I just want to hear what side you want. Are you good to go, my friend?
Let's do it.
Okay, strap in. This hot seat's brought to you by 9, just the number 9. Shouts out, ask your doctor if 9 is right for you. All right, well, here we go. Trevor Lawrence and Bill, or JJ McCarthy and Ricky Pearsall?
Trevor Lawrence and Bill.
JJ McCarthy or a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 4th and 26?
JJ.
JJ McCarthy in a late 26 first or an early 26 first?
JJ in the 1st.
Bryce in a 3rd or JJ McCarthy in a 2nd?
JJ in the 2nd.
JJ McCarthy, Matthew Golden, and Max Brosner or Garrett Wilson?
JJ.
JJ or 2 seconds?
JJ, but it's close.
JJ Odunze in a 2nd or Lad McConkey?
JJ Odunze in the 2nd.
Here we go.
And here's the thing is I still feel like I'm incomplete on JJ. And that's not me using hopium. I just don't think that we have a good enough picture to say I'm all the way out, right? Like I'm not in the land of he's QB 30.
Yeah.
Just yet. Like he hasn't gotten into that Russ Wilson land in terms of dynasty value, where it's just like it's a barren waste. Like at the end of the day, he's throwing for Jordan Addison. Last time I checked. He's still got 2 pretty good weapons out there for now.
Yeah.
So as long as he's thrown to those 2 weapons, I still want that quarterback. And if people are going to go, nuclear scorched earth, I guess off season, I'm going to be buying JJ McCarthy.
That's the thing, right? Like the paint's not dry on JJ's landscape here. Like there still is meat on the bone, and I think I'm seeing here is you can find a JJ package where it does make sense. Like, but I also see like, hey, if I can use JJ McCarthy in my 26 first to go get Drake London, I love that. On a competing roster, if I can use JJ, how about this one? 14 teams start 10, half PPR. JJ, Devin Neal in a 27 first or Dak Prescott?
That's where I go Dak. That's where I can go Dak because I think a lot of people are probably depressed on Dak in the offseason. They typically are. He's 32 years old. He's older. The dynasty value of 22 or, 22, 23-year-old JJ McCarthy. But like when Dak's on the field, he's a top 5 quarterback. Yeah. And you just live with the variance when he pulls his hamstring on the 14th carry he has of the season. You just live with those results. But I think ultimately at the end of the day, like that's another situation where a quarterback is tied to 2 really good wide receivers. And that one is producing and the other one's just not. And again, I'm not completely out on JJ. I'm just not going to do that yet. That's not fair to the process. But there are points in the process when I think in that hot seat, did I only have one trade that I took the non-JJ side? I
think so.
Like it was the first trade too. I think it was the Trevor Lawrence deal. And I'm not a huge Trevor Lawrence fan, but just I don't want to rush panic move and just say, oh yeah, I just want to have the cross positional wide receiver just yet. Because I still think this offseason people are going to give JJ one last chance. We did it with just about every other quarterback in that range. The top 10 quarterback that struggled. Zach Wilson. The list goes on. Like Zach Wilson's the first one that comes to my mind, but like I'm sure there's others that I'm spacing that the chat's going to be like, oh yeah, what about this guy? And what about that? Like I don't think it's time yet.
No, but for that value to return, there's going to be an off-season chat. I do agree. There's going to be excuses. There's going to be stories that we tell ourselves to stay in on JJ McCarthy through the off-season, reasons to buy in. One way or another, the rubber needs to meet the road, and JJ needs to produce, at least going into the next year. If he doesn't, then that's when that floor can truly fall out. But right now, I see a lot of deals where JJ, first can be involved one way or the other, and you can actually use JJ if you want out, if you want to pivot. But what are you doing with your JJ McCarthy's? Hopefully, he looks a little more like this than like that going forward. But you let us know. What are you doing with 9 in Dynasty? Let's move on to Lambeau Leap. Shouts out to Lambeau. 12 teams, start 9. It's a 0.5 PPR. Still have the current 103 that isn't his, and the 26 second also wasn't his. So I'm assuming here Lambeau Leap sends away his first, sends away Malik Neighbors, who, if I'm not mistaken, you said wide receiver 4 on KTC right now, Malik Neighbors, and a 26 second that's not his. You get CeeDee Lamb, Javonte Williams, and a second. And man, like right here today, like we are, whether we want to believe it or not, we are approaching the end of the season. We're approaching non-point scoring season, the off season. Malik Neighbors, once we're out of that, it's just gonna be about how quickly will he be ready for 27 and what is that going to look like once he's back in that offense with hopefully Scadaboo, hopefully Jackson Dart. You're the Giants fan. You know this better than I do. But even with all that, man, if I can get into CeeDee Lamb, Javonte Williams, who is smashing, and a second, is that enough to move off of Neighbors your first and a second?
Yes, because in this trade, you're getting almost Malik Neighbors at wide receiver 4 prices, which I was kind of stunned when I saw it. When I said it before we started recording, I said, hey, who the wide receiver 4 is, and you did not guess Malik Neighbors.
I did not.
And part of it is because of the 5 wide receivers that are behind him either have been hurt to some degree. You have Amon-Ra at wide receiver 5, CeeDee Lamb at wide receiver 6. You have Drake London's in that mix, and then also I think the only one that was not hurt in that area range was Emeka Egbuka. He's at wide receiver 9.
Yeah,
like most of the guys that are right behind him have been hurt to some degree. So it's kind of funny that it's like, well, the last of the Mohegans has been hurt for forever. Somehow just keeps moving up because it's like, well, I'd rather Neighbors over London. I'd rather Neighbors over Amon-Ra. Like, well, CD hasn't caught up yet. So if let's just break this down and say Malik Neighbors in the 26 second gets me CeeDee Lamb, I'm getting wide receiver 4 prices. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to tell me that 2026 first for Javonte in a second, like pretty fair deal. Like really good creative way to get the wide receiver 4 prices for Malik Neighbors from Lambeau Leap. Sending those picks away, still has the current 103, right? Still has an opportunity for a guy like Jeremiah Love, Mekhi Lemon, maybe Jordan Tyson, depending on how they fall and shake in the 26 class. Like, there's not really a drop off that much in terms of production from Neighbors to Lamb. One might even argue that Lamb's was going to produce more even with Neighbors on the field healthy. So I get Javonte in the second. Like, I don't know what Javante's situation is past this year. He's not signed. So if he's back with Dallas, like, man, this is a home run for me, Ty. I don't know about you, but this is a home run to use that kind of leverage.
I mean, on this team, the team is loaded, really trying to push to win. He's in sixth, but he's third in points for. He's got Dak, Caleb, JJ McCarthy, Genty Judkins, Javonte now, Marks, Benson, Tracy, Puka, Lamb, London, BTJ Marv, Alec Pierce, Reed. You got Gadsden, Hawk, and Theo Johnson in fifth place, tied for third, but couldn't afford the 0 from Laporta. I don't think that's actually from this deal, so I'm going to put that one away. But regardless, you're from Lambeau Leap. Yeah, I agree. Regardless of what Javonte is next year, I think if I could just bottle up what he's been, that's going to be worth it in the end. Like that and a 27 second for I'll call it a late 26 first with this team. Yeah, I'm paying that, and then I get the shot at Lamb. Even with George Pickens ascending, that doesn't take away from what Lamb can be in that offense. Yeah, I think if you look at this deal again from the rebuilder side, you're getting Neighbors a first and a second for 2 Cowboys and a 27 second. I like that. All right, like I do like that for the rebuilder as well, but it does feel like maybe you're leaving a little bit of meat on the bone in the middle of point scoring season. Like this almost feels like, Brandon, like a deal like if you made this in January, I'd feel probably a lot closer with it. But just given where we're at in the season, it really makes me lean CD Javonte in the second.
This would probably be a good deal when CD was out and Neighbors were out.
Yeah.
Right. You would feel a lot better about this deal if it was made like a month and a half ago when CD was out, because it's like, I'm traded to injured wide receivers, and here's this first and second for Javonte in a second. Cool, sure. Like the way this can go wrong for the Lamb side is now Javonte starts to taper off and CD continues to, CD maybe siphon some targets to Pickens because George has been doing, phenomenal of late. Now, granted, yesterday or Thursday when we did, Thanksgiving, CD had, pretty solid day, but if that was to be seeded away to Pickens, then sure, yeah, this other side feels a little bit shortchanged, but I don't think either side is going to feel bad because one side got CeeDee Lamb and the other side got Malik Neighbors, and you got the top 5 wide receiver asset. Regardless, the rest of it is all just who knows ball better, I guess, right? Who knows who could pick that 26 first or Javonte. And I think even if Javonte, let's just even say Javonte doesn't go back to the Cowboys, you still probably can get a 27 second for him.
Oh yeah, I would hope so.
Because right? I think one of the things I think Javonte has done is played his way into consistent opportunity for 2026. Yeah. Like I think that we can all agree on is that's what he's done. So what
he's earned the right to try to get that opportunity next year somewhere, if not the Cowboys.
Somewhere, exactly. Whether it's with the Cowboys for a different contract or whether it's somewhere else because he finally got that big running back bag, like. Because it might not come in Dallas. It might come somewhere else. It might be in like a team like New Orleans because Kamara retires and they need a running back and they need a horse and they throw a whole bunch of money. Or it might be somewhere else like Minnesota. I don't know. But could be very interesting to see what happens.
Definitely could be. For Lambeau Leap, it's a home league. So training's almost impossible. Well, I feel that. And those home leagues, those values can be pretty wild. He's trying to use 103 to upgrade at running back, but people at the bottom are dumb. Well, we all hold on to things. Sometimes that thing we hold on to is a running back on a tanking team. But Lambeau, good luck there. Don't think I don't see you in the comments here. Gabe, come on. You know the deal. You got to just Venmo me that $10. I can get whatever trades you want on the show. Don't give me that. And Lambeau, I didn't create this show just to talk about my trades, but I may or may not bring up one of my trades tonight, so don't hold it against me. But Vapad, let's jump over to Vapad in the all gas trade show premium gas league. So Brandon, this is a 14 team start 11 best ball. You got to start 2 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, and 2 flexes. There is a point per carry. There is a 1.25 PPR for wide receivers, 2.0 for tight ends. Big play scoring. It basically turns out there's scarcity everywhere. There's juice to the running backs, wide receivers score, but you can only really start 4 of them every week. So how do you balance all that out? Vapad has been going across all of his leagues, trying to preemptively move his 26 late first into 27 first. What he's found is no one across his leagues is willing to make that leap. But old Bad Moon Rising here was interested, and he's at least a year out from competing anyways, and this continues his domination of the 2027 class, which the juice on that class should pour gas into this rebuild. So Vapad here, he got into Bad Moon Rising's 2027 first. He sent away Luther Burton, a 2026 first of T. Sanford, which playoff, definitely playoff, and a 2026 third of Diaz, again, another playoff pick. So you are everywhere on DDFFB right now. If you look anywhere, you're going to find Brandon somewhere. Whether it be Bet and Sweat, whether it be Dynasty Takeaways, community mailbags, everywhere. You were talking with Scott about this exact move of moving those 26 first into 27, and how do we do that? So how about here? Luther Burton, a first and a third and 26 for that 2027 first and a 14/11 best ball. How do you feel?
I still want Luth. I still don't want to trade the 27 first for that. I still want my first. Yes, I did. We have talked about inside the Discord. Links are description or below. We've talked very creatively of how to get the 27 first. How, because again, once we get out of point scoring season and we get into pick acquiring season, I guess that's what we can call it, right? Pick acquiring season. It's going to become harder and harder to get these 27 first because people are going to start to value them more. We're already seeing the hype already on social media with Jeremiah Smith. He's probably going to be a consensus 101 or 102 if in 12 months he doesn't do any severe damage to his body. He's going to come in with a top 5, top 6 wide receiver dynasty tag, a la Marv Harrison. And if you remember the prices that people were getting for Marv, just imagine that is going to probably be a very similar case going into 2027. I'm just going to tell you that right now, looking right into the camera on late November, Jeremiah Smith is going to be pushed as a top 6 at minimum dynasty wide receiver option if he is this healthy. And if that's the case, that 2027 first, you will gladly pay Luther Burden a third and a first for, if not more. And I think that is why creatively you got to start to try to get those 27 first, because you want as many of them to try and get to those top handful of picks. This is a very creative way to get there, especially in a best ball 14/11, a 3-for-1. In a best ball, I could see where you want the Burden third and a first. I could see it, right? I'm going to trade my first over here, and I'm going to get a decent wide receiver prospect right now. I'm going to probably get a good running back that I could possibly utilize in 26. And in the first round pick, even if it's a playoff first, I'll be able to do something with it. Maybe I can trade it later on and get some juice. I can deepen out my roster. I can see both sides. But in the end, I still want the 27 first, because Luther Burden in the third does not move the needle for me. What does Luther Burden cost solo right now, Ty? Would you give a second?
I think if you have Burden and you've carried him this far, you're probably not letting him go for anything less than a second, but I don't think you can really ask for much more.
Right. So if I'm saying a second and a third gets me to the 27 pick, I'm not really motivated. It's got to be something that really makes me think, right? And that's what we were talking about in the chats. What is something that makes me think? Can I trade my George Pickens and a 26 first for Amon-Ra and a 27 first? Because Drake London is, if Drake London comes back or something to that effect, you know what I mean? It's got to be something that helps both sides. This one side is out, the other side's trying to lean in, and you could take the hype of Pickens in point scoring season versus the dynasty long-term asset, and the difference is a year in picks. So something like that's the way I wanted to do it, and that was the intent. Vapad just spammed it out. It looks like to everybody, found someone that it could work on. Hey, if the hit rate works, why not try it, right? But yeah, this is not exactly how I want to spend my 27 first, personally.
I know Vapad hit me up with a similar deal. I didn't pull the trigger on it. I probably offered him something that he didn't want to do, so that's fine. But I was listening to what DDFFB radio was telling me, right? Is that, hey man, these 27 picks, they're gold. We got to do something with them. And if you can find ways to move the 26 into the 27, that makes sense. I like it. I like this time of year too. Like there's a lot of actual things you can do if players get injured. You mentioned Amon-Ra, right? Or even we talked about JJ McCarthy. No, we did talk about JJ McCarthy, but what about Justin Jefferson? Like I feel like there is some swings in those values where you can find those deals where you could swap those picks and make something else happen where you come out with the 27 first and a similar guy. But Vapad wasn't done there. Vapad in a 12-by-12, 2 quarterback, 2 tight end, 5-point passing touchdown, 0.15 point per carry, and a 2.25 tight end premium. I'm assuming this is a lineup league, and he is in a serious rebuild. He traded with the man, the myth, the legend, Charles Chill FFB. Vapad sent away X-Worthy Scott. He sent back Scott his own 2026 first and a 2027 second belonging to Shepard. And Vapad got Trubisky, Jarquez Hunter, Charles Chill FFB's 2027 first and his own, or in the 26th third of Scott. It's only the second trade where I successfully turned a playoff first into a 2027 first. And of course, with the man that gave me the idea in the first place. Yeah. So it seems like if I'm reading this whole thing correctly, and I've tried this across my leagues too, is you do have to pay up. If you have a late 26 first, so what's projected 26 and late, you got to pay up to even get a random 27 first. Like people are already valuing it that way. Is that what you're seeing in your leagues as well, Brandon?
Yeah. I mean, I think the reality is whether or not the 2026 class is good or not from a fantasy perspective, I don't think it's ever going to really, I don't think it's really going to matter too much unless the 26 class comes out and Jeremiah Love is the next, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jordan Tyson turns into CeeDee Lamb, and Mekhi Lemon is the next Odell Beckham. Like, unless those 3 pieces turn into those 3 types of assets, there's always going to be this, well, they're part of the 2026 class, so they're not that good. Like, it's not that high of an upside. It has that weird feeling, like almost feels like 22 when you had Garrett Wilson, Treylon Burke, and Drake London. Like, it took a while for those cats to get off the stink of, oh, it's the 2022 class. It's not as good as the 2020 or 2021 class. Like, it just has that feeling where it's going to take a collective effort to move the 26 guys. So yeah, when you have a dude like Jeremiah Smith lurking in the 27 class, when you got Cam Coleman, when you got Ryan Williams, when you got, potentially guys like Dante Moore, Arch Manning, and, Ty Simpson at quarterback, like, yeah, people are going to feel a lot better about those guys than, some of the dudes that are going to be at the back half of the 2026 class that we just did the mock during, Ray just did a mock over on his page, but then when we did the one at Midseason Mayhem, and we're sitting there all in the back half of the first round, and we're like, yeah, I'm going to take this guy because he has a nice smile, right? Like this is the kind of class that we're dealing with right now, is like, it's kind of incomplete. And because it's incomplete, people aren't going to feel so hot about those picks. And so, yeah, you have to do something like what Vapad did with Scott, where it's like, I got to give you the X-Worthy and I got to give you your first, and I'm going to toss you the second. But what I'm really trying to do is get this 27 first, and I'm going to take back Mitch Trubisky, who's, any quarterback that's on a roster, Jarquez Hunter, who's long down the depth chart, and I'll take back your third. Like, this is the kind of trade where this is pretty much like a pretty standard. This is going to be a pretty standard price. Maybe not right now in the Dynasty community, because I could see comments being like, this is a dumb trade. I don't understand why you're making this trade. But like, come 6 weeks from now in mid-January, where nobody's scoring points, this is going to be kind of the standard for the only way to get a 27 first is you're going to have to take a step back of some type of piece of skill. And X-Worthy isn't a difference-making wide receiver, but he's enough that he's probably startable in many leagues. And that's the important part with this.
Much like my camera right now, we are seeking more clarity on what that 26 class really will be. And my bet is that as we move through the process, as someone like a Ty Simpson, other people drop out of the class, declare for 27 instead. Like, it just feels like one of those things where just the pieces are going to keep moving, and I'd rather skate to where the puck's going to be, which is that I just want those 27 first. I want to have those things to have some fun with down the line. So I mean, like here I'll jump in. So hey, Lambeau Leap. This is where old Ty is going to talk about himself here. I pulled this one off this week in a 12x12 lineup. That 26 first. It's right now it's a non-playoff first, but my math says that Boyne is going to be a playoff pick. And then that 27 first, it's truly random on a team that could age out, on a manager who he's not like a high volume trader either. So I sent Chris Godwin and a mid 26 first for Brian Robinson in that 27 first. I also have five 27 first going into next year. Still have my first in 26. Is this the kind of deal you're trying to pull off?
Yeah, this is exactly kind of the type of deal that I'm trying to make. Like, because here's the thing. Here's what is also happening in the process. Like, and I saw this kind of in the Vapad deal, the last one, right? Where he was getting Mitch and Jarquez Hunter. What you're doing is you're taking, especially like on a retooling team, which Ty, I'm assuming you're doing in this situation with Brian Robinson, is I am taking a lawn dart for next season. I'm not taking, if CMC is to go down, instantly Brian Robinson is going to be at minimum worth a second. We saw second round prices last year for Isaac Garendo when nobody had a clue what Isaac Garendo was, right? Like Brian Robinson is probably equivalent or maybe slightly above what Garendo can do, right? So I know that I can get a second for that, especially if he's the starting running back for the San Francisco 49ers. And then you have the 27 first, right? And what you're giving away is a starting flex asset or a starting asset in Chris Godwin. Like, people feel comfortable about that. Like, he's good. And then you get the first in 26. So what you're doing is two things. One, you're taking on assets that are going to help you next year, right? And then on the flip side, you're giving them assets that's going to help the team that is trying to compete lean in further, right? So that way, when the team doesn't look good, you potentially have like a double win here because you got the 27 first, and if their team sucks, it's a non-playoff first. So now they can't accelerate their retool. You have their asset. So it's a very clever way of trying to get the asset that you want, and then you get a flyer in like B-Rob. I mean, that's the kind of home run that I'm looking for with these types of deals. Can I get the ceiling plays? Sure. They might happen, but they're going to be harder to happen because most people aren't going to want to move their Justin Jefferson, their Amon-Ra, their Drake Londons. They're more than fine moving their Chris Godwins, their Xavier Worthies, their Brian, because they're in such an interchangeable range. So just trying to find some interchangeable pieces with some upside. That's really the goal of the trade.
Mm-hmm. But like Vapad, I sent out offers like this across multiple leagues. This is the only one that I got done, right? So people are going to be in on those 27 first, but you can maybe find those deals with certain managers, and it probably helps when people are trying to lean in, and they say, hey, my team's going to be good in 27 as well. Sure. And they're willing to really lean in to compete in 26. You can get these things done. So go have some fun. What are you doing with your 27 first though? Everyone in the comments, drop it in there. 26 first, 27 first. Have you made any of those deals? Try to swap a 26 for a 27. Can you not do it because 26 is coming up sooner? Therefore, I got to have the 26 over 27. Like, what are you doing? Let us know in the comments below. All right, let's move on to old Pistol Pete 26. Brings a 12x12 Superflex best ball league, a 0.5 PPR, and a 1.5 tight end premium. Now, Brandon, this is a nice way of moving off of a asset that is going to be injured, I'm assuming, for the rest of the year. And Sam Laporta back surgery, never something you want to hear. So anyway, Sam Laporta and a second, get Travis Kelce in a 27 first. Man, if I can basically just accept that I'm either going to get the same production, maybe a little less of the pie in the sky Sam Laporta idea, but I can swap that 26 second for a 27 first. 100% probably keeps my competing hopes alive, and I get a shot in 27, man.
Yeah, this one's hard because the Dynasty The dynasty thought is Laporta in the second. And the second, it's a slam dunk. I'm getting off of the potentially retiring Kelsey. We don't know when he's going to retire. Could be this year, could be next year, could be 2028. Who knows? The guy just kind of seems like if he loves to play the game, he's going to continue to play the game. Right? You get that coveted 27 first, so it makes it feel special and warm and fuzzy. I'm not 100% sold that we haven't seen the best. Like, we're already going to experience the downfall of Sam Laporta. Back injuries are not fun. I don't care who you are, what you are. I don't care what profession there is. I've watched my mother personally experience back issues and have back surgery and never recover and be the same. I can't imagine that it is any different for a professional athlete. I don't care how young and strong you are. So I'm very concerned about Sam Laporta and his dynasty value. I understand. I get it. He's young. He'll come back. But, man, back injuries are not fun. They're scary. They're dangerous. And, I mean, it's just not I think this is a great pivot off of Laporta. Like, yeah, you get the short-term W of Kelsey, long-term W of the 27 first. And if you're basically punting from Laporta to Kelsey anyway, you're pretty much changing your roster construction at the tight end position. So you can go play in the gross, every single year. Let me go get the third round tight end or whoever might come out that's like tight end 3, tight end 4. I'll just buy a bunch of those dudes, or I'll go buy, if I've got an extra second, I'll go buy an AJ Barner type. And just kind of run that out. But yeah, this is a very creative way. I'm just not 100% sold that we have that Sam Laporta will return to just being Sam Laporta. That's my biggest fear with the deal. I don't know about you, Ty, but that's my biggest fear in the deal.
In my real life work, I see people recovering from back surgeries more often than I'd like. And let me tell you, it's not a guaranteed outcome, right? Back surgery can make things worse. They can make things better. Maybe things stay the same. Right. You don't even know if you have the right diagnosis till you get in there sometimes. Right. So I don't like hearing back surgery. I'd like to bet on Laporta, and then have that hope for the future and a good offense that Laporta can sustain that value. But a couple things at play here, man. One, we're in best ball. Every roster spot counts. I don't want to take zeros if I'm competing. If I'm rebuilding, sure, I can roster the right zeros. But getting off of someone who is going to be on IR for the rest of the year, in general, for points and a first, that is a plus, and I'm willing to pay a second to do that. But even when I zoom out even further, man, when I have a guy like Laporta, I need him to be producing like a difference-making tight end for that bet to pay off. And right now, not only not producing, I can't pencil him in to be that elite producing tight end, that difference maker when we look at those war charts. Right? I can't bet on that right now. And if that's the case, then I don't want to hold my value at that range of tight end. I'd rather have the first. I'd rather just get the point scoring tight ends, duct tape them all together and piece together that room versus betting on the hope of Laporta. So I'm happily taking Kelsey in the first, even if this is Kelsey's last year of football.
I think it's also important to note too, when you're trying to get off like an IR player, like I'm looking at this deal, it's on Sleeper. Sleeper 9 times out of 10 in best ball leagues does not allow you to have IR slots. Whereas if this is an MFL deal, which most people feel is the inferior platform now, you can have IR slots in best ball, which would change the complexity of this deal, because then I can afford to have that zero because I can just put them on the IR slot and I can go pick up Brock Wright, Ross Dwelly, Andrew Ferkser. Like I can go pick up one of those dudes and duct tape it, as you just said, duct tape it together and make it make sense. But sometimes also the format in which you play and the platform in which you play sometimes is just as much strategy as the players that are and the process that you're utilizing.
Things you can't duct tape together are backs and vertebrae and spinal cords. So all the best to Sam Laporta. Please have a fast and full recovery, and we'll see you in 2027. And Pistol Pete, enjoy the 27 first and Kelsey in this deal. Okay, let's get our guy Girth Brooks, aka No Guts, No Sausage, brings us a 14-team start 12 Superflex PPR. It's a 2 tight end premium, and you got to start 2 of them. It's a 0.25 point per carry, a 0.25 rushing and receiving first down bonus, and Girth Brooks is ship chasing. So he sends away Brashard Smith, Trey Harris, his own 26 first and second to get A.J. Brown, Tyrone Tracy, and Travis Kelce. We talked some Tyrone Tracy on Dynasty Deal Show. He has a great playoff schedule. We talked some A.J. Brown because he just went nuclear on Friday night, Black Friday football. And Travis Kelce, we just talked about him. I'll tell you what, man. If I'm sitting there 14 by 12, I'm ship chasing. Like 14 by 12, man, that is very, very deep. So that you're telling me that I can get Tyrone Tracy, right? Producing running back. I'll pay Brashard Smith in a second for Tracy if he is in the lineup every week, and I need those points right now. AJ Brown in this league, I'd pay a late 26 first pretty easily for that. And then you're telling me it's Trey Harris and Travis Kelce. I think Girth Brooks wins in this deal in a couple different spots. When you look at this format, man, everyone's scoring. Everyone can find pop weeks. But 14 by 12, you got to keep depth in mind. And he gets 3 starters out of this. I don't have any other context on the rest of his roster, Brandon. But how do you feel here? 14 by 12, all these scoring. Kelce, AJ Brown, and Tracy. For Brashard Smith, Trey Harris, a first and a second and 26.
I mean, if the only thing, like I'm looking at this, you're very right. 26 first for AJ Brown, even on the low end, coming off of, the game he had last week against the Cowboys. And now we know that he went, and got himself in the black and fantasy points on Black Friday. Mm-hmm. Kelce is Kelce, Tyrone Tracy. I mean, I'm a Giants fan. He's about as empty calorie as you can get in fantasy points. He's going to get opportunity. He's going to get plenty of it, but he's not going to produce much. Like if you get 100 yards out of him like he did last week, great. But more often than not, you're going to probably get somewhere between 14 and 18 touches and probably about 70 total yards. And you're just going to be like, why did I even start this thing? But in 0.25 PPC and a 0.25 first down, like he's probably more valuable than Brashard Smith. He's probably more valuable than the straight up second. So you're telling me that I get to rent Travis Kelce for maybe 6 weeks, maybe a year and a half, and all I have to pay is Brashard Smith and Trey Harris? Sure. Sign me up for that one. Like that is a risk when I'm ship chasing. I will do that 100 out of 100 times. As long as Travis Kelce is healthy, there's no reason why that trade shouldn't happen every time.
Those Pringles might not be real potatoes, but if I eat enough of them, it's gonna fill me up, and that's what I feel like that this trade does. It'll fill up your roster. It'll get you those points you need for ship chasing. If Kelce and Tracy aren't even going to be in my lineup, I'm not doing this deal because I'm not really. It's not moving me forward enough. I'd rather simplify the deal around an AJ Brown if that's the goal. But I feel like in a 14 by 12, you can find ways to get all 3 of those guys in the lineup. So I like it. Maybe it's a trade deadline, Brandon, and he needs to make a bet on a couple of backup guys to have on the roster for when the weeks come up. But
I mean, and if it starts 2 tight end, maybe he had a tight end go down, and he needs Kelce to fill in that. But maybe it was the Sam Laporta situation, right, where it's like, well, shoot, now I'm stuck. What do I got to do? All right, let me go burn my first and second. Let me throw some hopium darts together in Brashard Smith and Trey Harris, who've had flashes in the pan, but not really sustainable fantasy success. And let me go take this AJ Brown. Let me go get this Travis Kelce, and throw Tyrone Tracy in there because he doesn't belong on a rebuilder. Like I could see the other side. Like, yeah, I need to get rid of these 2 guys, but here's a Tyrone Tracy because I really don't need him. And maybe that gets me a little bit of value. Can you kick in Brashard Smith? Sure, why not? And the reality is in the offseason, once you win the ship, you can just ship AJ Brown right back off for a 27 first because somebody will buy him in that format. Now, that is a deep 14 by 12 is a lot of startable players. Mm-hmm. Like, that's just a lot, period.
Yeah. And honestly, those January, February deals in there where you are acquiring those, like think about what probably you got Javonte Williams for in this league last offseason, right? Like that's where you can really make those kind of bets and really fill out on the cheap and retool quickly for next year. So good luck this year. No guts, no sausage. DAZN, shouts out to DAZN. That's where I watched football in Canada. DAZN, good luck with the old B. Smith Harris in the first and second. You can definitely piece that stuff together. And man, I feel like no one wanted to touch AJ Brown with a 10-foot pole. in Dynasty 7 days ago. So that's how quick things can change. But again, you make your bets. I think we got, let's get one more here. So Rumbero, 12 team start 12. It's a PPR and a 1 point tight end premium with no tight ends in sight in this one. So Disco Spider. I want to say Disco Spider, but I don't think that's actually what it says.
Lean into it. Just lean into it.
Delisco Splitter sends away Kyle Manungai, a 26 and 27 first. And Rumbero sends away Brian Thomas Jr. and DeAndre Swift. And Swift, speaking about Black Friday deals, he went ahead and he got that bad, man. But on the other side, both, like, I just want Chicago running back. That's all I want, because Kyle Manungai, he's falling into the end zone every week. He's getting more and more volume. He's breaking off big runs. So I feel great having Manungai and Swift no matter what. I'll tell you something for free, though. I'm selling my Brian Thomas Jr. for 2 liquid firsts. I'm just doing that, even in a 12 by 12. But I think that in this format, man, this is where, like, if this is a 12 by 9, I don't think it's that close. But in a 12 by 12, full PPR, that's where you can actually see this deal happen, where you can get that credit, and it makes sense for both sides. One side gets Brian Thomas Jr. and Swift, the other gets Manungai and 2 first. But where do you lie, Brandon? Where does this deal balance out for you?
Oh, I want the fun guy side. That's my nickname for him. He's just the fun guy, because he's a fun guy to watch. He's a fun guy that runs. He just, he's probably the best thing that's come out of Rutgers since Ray Rice, period. I mean, shout out to Rutgers and all of my friends from the great state of New Jersey. It's where I was born. You know what? You said that you wouldn't do this in a 12 by 9, but I'm not going to lie, I probably would. I still want the fun guy side, even on the 12 by 9. I mean, Manungai and Swift are just in a complete timeshare. Like, Manungai's getting some of the work down the goal line. Swift looks like between the 20s. It looks like they're kind of doing almost like what you kind of saw last year with Montgomery and with Gibbs. I don't know which one is which, because they kind of do. I mean, both of them look pretty like they had some good juice in the game against the Eagles. But 2 firsts for Brian Thomas and a 12 by 9, like, some people are going to say you're nuts, you're wild, but, like, what has he shown this year that has made me feel like he's worth more than that? And I don't know where these picks, I don't know where Delisco Spilder's firsts are in 26 and 27. Maybe they're playoff first, maybe they're not. Like, I'm fine with that. Like a random 26, a random 27 first, and the guy wants to lean in with Brian Thomas Jr. and DeAndre Swift. Like, it may pay off early. It may pay off in 2025, but it may not pay off in 2026. And if that 2027 turns into 105, 106 range, like, man, yeah, that's going to be a pretty, I might end up being a pretty square deal pretty quick, where you're like, man, I really wish I would have had the liquid first and the fun guy.
That's what I'm thinking, right? Because if it's a start 12, I know that Brian Thomas Jr. is just going to be in my lineup come hell or high water. Right. So that's why I can kind of understand the price, especially like if I'm betting that a team that's buying DeAndre Swift and BTJ down the stretch, sending away Manungai and 2 first, they are competing. They think that they're going to be competing probably this year and next year. So they're probably banking that those firsts are going to be late. I think in a 12 by 9, like, I don't know if people are really going to, I don't know, maybe just really give the oomph behind Brian Thomas, or say that he is an elite guy, so I need to have him in the lineup. I don't play in too many shallow leagues. I just know things get squirrely there when it comes to value. But at 12 by 12 with the depth aspect, man, again, I'm not going to feel too much different when I see Swift or the fun guy in my lineup. But I do like myself some liquid first. So Rumbero, I want Manungai and 2 first here. Go have some fun in the offseason with the first. Maybe go find one of those 26 or 27 swaps that we just went through that makes sense for your team. Really load up for 27 and support the old fun guy going into next year. Brandon, man, anything else happening for you? We talked a lot. I know you are on DDFFB's airwaves here, and I love seeing your growth as a host, getting out there. If you need someone to host a show, Brandon is always available. The bat signal is always in the sky. So I really like seeing you getting more involved here, man. But Anything else that you're trying to do this week in Dynasty? Anything else that you have coming up this weekend or into the not the off season, but just coming up here over the next little bit?
I mean, I'll say this much. I'm going to probably be actively hunting after Cam Ward and JJ McCarthy. I think that the price has gotten a little bit too low in the fantasy markets. I think there's just, again, incomplete grades on those guys. You know, depending on the injuries here, maybe I can snag an Amon-Ra for, you know, a price that is close to value, you know, because he's been so unobtainable for quite some time, but maybe I can get into him for something different. But I mean, those are like, this is the kind of time of the year where if I'm not competing and I'm not even like, if I'm not in the top 3, top 4, like I'm trying to take advantage of every injury that can possibly happen. Cause if there's just a slight thought of a window that it can be there, like it's worth exploration, right? We were looking at we were pumping Achan deals on Dynasty takeaways and even a community chat. And now I'm seeing people trading Bijan for Achan in a second. So yeah. Deals can be had. You just have to, I said this a couple of times, you just have to be uncomfortable with the process when the names are the names that everybody likes. You have to be uncomfortable with it, right? You have to look past the name, right? Past the name of Bijan to look at Achan, but then to look at the production and say, it's pretty much the exact same thing, if not more, and I'm getting a second because somebody can't get off the name of Bijan. So it's just like, getting uncomfortable. That's really what it comes down to in trading.
Love being uncomfortable sometimes, and it's those uncomfortable deals are the ones that will actually get done, right? We can all stay in what's comfortable, but that means we're probably going to stay stagnant to a certain point. So I agree, man. If we can go make some of these deals, lean into the process. You know, the names that you want to sell are the same guys that everyone else wants. So go make your bets on guys like a JJ McCarthy, a Cam Ward. Go make your bets in these 2027 first as well. They are allegedly gold. Everyone hates 2026. Does that mean we're too far? Can you find some buy lows on those old 26? I don't know, but I know as the DDFFB community is going to stay tapped in, stay moving, and make some more deals for us to chat about next week. Until then, patreon.com/allgas keeps you in the door in the community. ddfantasyfootball.com. You get in there, you get all your tools to dominate your leagues and stay tapped in for trades and chill tier here on YouTube. Otherwise, thank you, Brandon, so much for filling in for Gabe. I hope Gabe has a belly full of turkey. He's ready to go for next week. I'll tell you, I'm going to go have myself maybe a turkey poutine. Enjoy old Canadian weekend here, but we love y'all. Have fun, be safe, and we out of this thing. Peace.